Hello everyone and welcome to the Commexis Cast Daily for Tuesday, October 17th, 2017. All the news you need to know from our inbox to yours. I'm Matthew McGrorty, the videographer and podcaster here at Commexis, and today I am joined by the lead strategist at Commexis, Phillip Brooks.
Good morning.
And Commexis President Len Ward.
Good morning.
So our first story today, companies and retailers are looking for, well, brands are looking for alternatives to Amazon. And this is based on an article by DigiDay on Seb Joseph. So companies are worrying about not partnering with Amazon because they don't want to not do it because then they ignore a sales channel. But they're also worried that if they partner with Amazon, they might get undercut by a brand name that Amazon owns. So for example, Nike and Under Armour, they're taking a hit in the sports apparel market, and Amazon just announced on Bloomberg had a write-up on it, their own sports apparel company. And Amazon's pressuring sports apparel companies to list their entire inventory on Amazon, because if they don't, Amazon will begin selling their own products for what they're missing and become the competitor to these big brands, which is hurting them already. So for example, Oscar Kozbowski, which is Kellogg's global VP of e-commerce, suggested that in an alternative to Amazon, they could have a hypothetical partnership with Airbnb that would let them sell cereal to people who are in new locations and don't necessarily know where to get certain foods or don't want to pay the price for a breakfast at some restaurant somewhere. And then, for example, another hypothetical, Simon Miles, Coca-Cola's global customer director, mentioned that they could partner with Blue Apron, HelloFresh, and retailers like Sainsbury's as a sort of meal kit alternative to selling their products on something like Amazon. I think there's a quote here that I like a lot. The chance of single brands or even single companies being able to solve that complete shopper mission is reduced, said Simon Miles, the Coca-Cola global customer director. We're in a world where we need to find the right partners to work with, whether that's brands and retailers or brands and brands. You need to find the right partnership for your brands in your markets. So I think that's a pretty self-explanatory quote. But basically, they're looking for alternatives to Amazon because not everything is going to be the best on Amazon for them because they're worried that they're going to get undercut.
Yeah, the first thing that jumped out at me when you were reading that article is that, we've all seen, and if you use Amazon a lot, which I do because we have a little kid at home and we're constantly ordering stuff. The other big thing about Amazon is how much counterfeit goods are on there.
That's true.
So if you're taking the time to load your entire inventory onto Amazon, now you're competing. You're basically giving people the blueprint to find every single article that you sell, and then you're competing against these counterfeit, because Amazon's really not very good at policing that. So
there's been articles in the last couple of weeks about certain high-end fashion brands saying, we're not putting our stuff up until Amazon cracks down on this, because you don't want to unintentionally make a customer spend $500 on some counterfeit bag.
Well, I mean, that's the thing though, and they're actually, an educated consumer, you can look at it and say, well, this is far cheaper than it should be.
Yes.
Maybe something's going on here, but somebody who doesn't really think that far or is a little cynical, would easily fall into that trap. I know that my wife bought something that looked like something else, and when it got there, the sizes weren't remotely compatible, and it didn't look anything like it looked in the picture, and then it turned out it came from China. So, if you're using Amazon, be wary of that, and I can definitely see why I would be, a little bit reticent to put my entire line of clothing up on there, or if I was a manufacturer for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can't start. You start strong arming companies like Nike. I mean, I guess I get Under Armour's a little under pressure of their stock right now, but you start pressuring those companies to list their entire inventory. Nike's got a really good app presence. They'll just pull all their stuff and go ask all the mom and dad sneaker stores from years in the past what happened when you start strong arming Nike. Amazon's the king. We know Amazon's the king. I know that there are some people from a financial standpoint think that there's a lot of flaws in this company. That's not for me to get into, but there was also another titan 10 years ago, and I'll say the name, and they started threatening a bunch of, we're going to do this and we want that. That was called eBay. And eBay now is a shell of itself. Amazon is not going the road of eBay. Amazon's invested in vastly different things, and it's a vastly stronger company. But it's got to the point now where, okay, where the only place we can shop is Amazon. I read a stat a couple months ago that I think it's by this holiday season, every single person in America will either have been given a gift that was purchased on Amazon or they've purchased something at Amazon. That's staggering. So what's going to happen is you're going to get to the point where you're going to get a small movement saying, I don't like going to Amazon. There's counterfeit stuff. I don't like buying stuff there. I don't know if I trust it anymore. So, I mean, if you're a brand like Nike, I'm pushing it hard on my app right now via advertisements. We sell cheaper. You come to us, we sell cheaper. We have products that you can't find on certain places on the Nike app. So that's one way for brands to really push, which is app, which I think is the future of B2C when you have a really good, strong brand. That's one option.
I mean, that's an excellent point, because if you think about it, you've retained your brand presence by saying, look, we're going to hold on to this particular line. We're going to hold on to, hey, maybe we'll do the Air Jordans and we'll make those available to all of our retailers. But there's going to be certain things you need to come to us to buy. And we know sneakerheads are a huge.
Oh man, yeah, that's like,
they have brand loyalty out the wazoo, and they're following all of these releases, like I would with a movie or something. So they're ready. And I think that that's the way that you can really leverage your brand loyalty, by just retaining some of those higher end products in your own. You're using your app and things like that.
Yeah, not to mention there were recently a couple stories about Nike made a deal with Groupon about I think it was like 20 or 30% off of their store website. And honestly, if you're going to Nike and you're getting that 30% off of one of their higher end products, you're probably saving money than if you bought it on Amazon, because I'm sure they have something with free shipping, because most places have free shipping over X amount of cost. So there's definitely ways to sort of circumvent this Amazon attempt to sort of control these companies.
I mean, there's another piece too. A lot of these bigger brands have loyalty kind of campaigns where you're amassing points. You're getting towards Amazon can't offer that, so that's another way that you can sort of combat that mindset. But again, if Amazon's really pushing you, it just seems like a bad idea.
Large brands, I think, have options. If you're a smaller brand, unfortunately, it's the 800-pound gorilla, and there's really no way around it. But the large brands, they have options.
Well, our second story for today is a little bit on ad blocking.
Yeah, this sort of follows up a little bit to what we were talking about yesterday with the Facebook plugin being blocked out by part of Apple's new browser updates. But just wanted to follow up a little bit with, U.S. publishers are claiming $15.8 billion of annual revenue was lost to ad blocking last year. That seems astronomical to me. But there's some interesting stats that we can glean from this article. One is that consumers in Europe are more likely to block ads, but the United States isn't far behind. About 26% of U.S. consumers use some sort of ad blocking software. I happen to use ad blocker through Chrome. And I think this is like the first time in the last week or two, some of the sites that I generally go to, I'm getting pop-ups that say, hey, look, you're using an ad blocker, that's great, but can you whitelist us, because that's how we pay our bills. And I was, I was like, well, geez, yeah, I guess I consume a lot of your content. Maybe I should at least do that for you, because it's So I felt terrible, but I also realized this is where we are now. People are just begging to please turn off your ad blocker just to come to our site. So I thought that was interesting. The 15.8 billion seems a lot, but they're claiming that it's up from 28 billion in 2016. So that's a huge jump. And now we're talking about some of these companies are building in their own ad blockers.
Chrome, for example.
Yeah, I mean, so what's going to be the impact of that? And I think again, it's part of the problem was that it was so unregulated and it was the Wild West, and some of the ads became so intrusive and so annoying that people were looking for a kind of counteract to that, but it went too far. And now there's so they need to kind of back it up a little bit, and that's hopefully these browser-based ad blockers will be somewhere in the middle.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in to today's Commexis Cast Daily. For more, check us out every weekday this week for the latest trending news. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.